Hello and welcome to not the Eternal Tournament series. We are best of three and we are live with our second week of the second season of the second year of the Eternal Tournament series. So that works out pretty well. A lot of twos in there. I am RNG, and of course, to go with our theme of twos, we are only two in the booth today. I am joined by rekenner.
Good evening, everyone.
So we already have a question from the chat. Where's Bob? Counter Bob has left RNGEternal in order to form Team Leyline. So you'll want to go check out his stuff there, but that means that he is unfortunately no longer part of the show. So we're in a bit of a limbo there at the moment, but same sort of content. We're going to be breaking down the archetypes and win rates for you today of what's been going on in the ETS, and we had a couple interesting ones in the top 8. And we will be getting to those in just a moment. I may or may not have read our intro thing for today. Take us away, Rick.
All right. Well, as you can see, we have a little bit of a shorter show tonight. We have a quick rundown of the archetypes and win rates as usual. We're going to talk about some of the top 8 decks, such as FTP Moment and TPS Life Force Relics, and a quick look at the winning deck for Argent mid-range. But being real, it's been about the same deck for the last 5 weeks. We have the showing up of Huru mid-range again, and we have a quick talk about Screamin' Queen, which didn't quite perform this week like it did last week. And finally, a quick look at the Invitational Point Leaderboard.
Okay, let's hop right into it then.
Yeah.
Starting off with the archetypes. And of course, I want to point to our reddest number on the chart. Elysian mid-range continues to underperform with a sub 50% win rate, this time sitting at a laudable 22%.
Yep.
So better than last week's 10%, I believe. It's improving. It's got
no, it was at about 33% last week.
Oh, so we've dropped this time.
Yes. Yeah, both Elysian midrange and Praxis midrange decks that are kind of known for, being aggressive midrange lists, but still not aggressiveness.
We may have lost our producer, which may have also lost us the stream.
All right. Are we back? We're back. Okay.
All right.
All right. So as we were saying,
we're actually reading off of the stream sheet. So when that goes down, we have no idea what's in front of us.
Well, that and with Miller is not in the call, we're not going out to the internet. So we have, as I was saying, both Praxis midrange and Elysian midrange, both known as aggressive midrange lists, but not always fast enough to really get in under the decks that want to go over the top of midrange, and we saw that happen this week. The meta slowed down a little bit. AP midrange, which is naturally pretty good against time midrange, showed up in force, but and decks that beat up on less interactive decks, generally speaking, time midrange wants to be a bit less interactive, showed up, and Elysian and Praxis suffered, much to the joy of RNG.
Yeah, well, I would like Praxis to be good. I always think that it's not quite where I want to be since it's a little bit too linear for my taste, but Elysian has been the same deck since 2016, and it really starts to hurt you at some point. Even Combray has gotten a little bit long in the tooth with no real new cards since
World Bear Behemoth
sent one with a couple of exceptions.
Same for Elysian midrange. Actually, the Elysian midrange has gotten equivocate.
Yes, so it actually has maybe more new cards than Combray has, and it's finally hurt Combray. I like to see new decks doing well, and we saw a couple new decks this time around with Huru midrange popping back, FTP Moment Battery's favorite deck having a pretty good showing. I mean, 65% win rate over 5 copies is no laughing matter.
Yeah, I put 2 decks into the top 4 even.
FPS Scream, 7 copies, 40% win rate is a little bit less convincing. it popped off last week with 2 copies in the top 8, but this time, or actually 2 different versions even, but this time around, I don't think any copies made top 8. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so yeah, so not a good showing this time, and this was one of our smallest ETS events of 2018. So less decks represented all around, but it's by no means has the metagame suddenly slowed down. This has been a trend that we've been seeing from the Invitational onwards. Chalice won last week. AP mid won this week, but the top 4 was all extremely slow, go over the top decks. So
Hmm.
it's something that people are used to, and there was a little bit of Skycrack aggro, and it actually did quite well.
Yes.
At least win rate percentage wise, but
It still did
maybe
not manage to put a deck into the top 8, however.
maybe we'll
So
start to
that is,
see a resurgence of aggro a little bit in the coming weeks as people are playing these slow, ponderous decks. The very special deck that we want to talk about played 0 removal spells in the main deck.
yes,
So
well, we
there's
will be getting to that momentarily.
there's probably an aggro deck out there that can exploit the fact that its curve starts on turn 4 and it plays no actual removal.
Yeah, Neon posted his review of the TPS Relic deck shortly after the ETS on Saturday, and it was just an image of him playing Skycrag aggro and winning against TPS Life Force.
Yeah. So
to quote him, he is not too proud to play the card Oni Ronin,
which used to be used to be not where you wanted to be, but nowadays, especially on ladder, is coming back a bit. Argenport mid range, even with its eventual win, didn't put up that great a showing. It wasn't that well positioned. It just enough copies, one weathered through. People still trying to play Praxis and Legion mid range decks into AP, and it keeps not working. We've done this for a few times, so. The really interesting list there is Hoover mid-range, which I'm sure we will be discussing in Force, but just
Yes.
that deck and FTP moment are the 2 performers at the moment. So let's take a brief.
Well, real quick, I was just going to read off the top 8. We didn't have a lot of. We didn't really have many new decks in the top 8, except for the ones we're going to highlight. But the top 8 were Ilya K on FTP moment, Sifu Danny on Hoover midrange, Child Roland on Dark Heart, Moosh on Praxis midrange, top 8 on TPS Life Force Relics, one of the decks we're going to highlight. The Platypus King on FTP moment, Wallow, our eventual winner, on Argenport midrange, and Kamado playing Icaria Blue, although he likes to refer to it as a blue removal pile.
I think he just called it blue pile. And then he lost,
Possibly.
And then he got angry on Twitter and said it was way worse than removal pile, and he's never playing it again. Which probably means you'll see him win with it next week, since that's the usual cycle of these things.
Quite possibly. But yes, let's head on to our next slide.
Man, I'm really glad you said his name, because I'm not good with names, but I am good with decks, and this is an AP mid deck. You got for. It's I think Bruised by God tuned this kind of version originally with the Crown Watch traders and things, and this is sort of just building off of that same kind of deal.
1 or 2 card changes here and there in the main deck and the sideboard. Your number of finest hours, your number of sabotages. What removal you're running main deck versus sideboard. This list had 0 removal except for Slay. Finest hour usually ends up being removal. Effectively, did it have Runehammer in the main or in the side? Did it have a split? So on and so forth. He said he had Macto in his list as an answer to the expected meta slowing down, which it seemed to have worked out very well for him. And a quick note on the name, by the way. He said we could just call him Wallow for short. It's a Finnish name. It translates to conquer, I believe he said. And so I believe it is Wallow Taja, but I'm probably butchering that.
I feel like you skipped the IT in there, but who am I to know?
Possibly.
Yes. So this is a bit more of an aggressive bent, leaving all the vanquishes in the sideboard, so you don't, your hand doesn't clog up with removal spells against the FTP moment decks. It allows you to be a little more aggressive and leverage those Crown Watch Paladins and Rip Knife Assassins to really get in there. playing more main deck sabotages instead. So a bit of a meta-tuned Argenport list, more aggressive, better against the unitless control decks that have been popping up. So not a big surprise that he cruised through the FTP moment list. If you can land a Cranwatch Paladin and stick a Bloodletter on it, they don't like that so much.
Yeah. And I will point out a interesting thing that I've noticed actually is while the list originally ran to Instigator, we have basically stopped seeing that, I think. The nerf to Double Shadow, the addition of Rip Knife, and the rise in Chronos Paladin as a way to fight against removal seems to have caused that card's downfall.
Yeah, Cranwatch Paladin was basically unplayable from post nerf onwards for about 6 months, and now with all of the fact that the control deck of choice is not Chalice, but something like FTP Moment really allows it to shine. Since playing into Chalice, it was not so great walking into 2/5s
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time. But Aegis is a very powerful ability, especially when combined with something like Bloodletter or Instigator's Blade is the new one. A sort of a build your own Silverwing familiar.
yeah.
No life steal,
No
but
life,
Warcry instead.
but lifesteal's value has kind of been greatly reduced recently because you're often not, racing in the air against opposing damage. You're racing against your opponent, stabilizing and turning the corner against you. And lifesteal doesn't do anything against that. If you're at 70 life, but you never get another point of damage, you will eventually lose.
Ilya from chat would like us to know that he beat him in a best of 3, 2-0. So clearly the superior player there. Ilya was on FTP Moment, which does make this a little bit more than just bragging. So we have to note that while this AP list seems well tuned against FTP Moment, sometimes it doesn't play out like that.
Yeah, and the FTP Moment list, of course, can also do some counterattack. 2 weeks ago, FTP Moment wasn't running Scorpion Wasp in the main. Now it is, but we'll talk about the evolution of FTP Moment a little bit later. I think with that, we should talk about the second place deck, the
one that everybody's really here for.
Yes, the deck that you either love or you hate or you love to hate, which is TPS Life Force Relics. It was run by Top 8. It's an original-ish list. People have thought of the idea of, Mask of Torment plus Devoted Thurge, or the idea of, making a deck that takes advantage of kind of the over-the-top nature of Mask of Torment. But this is, I think, the first time we've seen it really successful. And there's a handful of reasons behind that. But one of them is how much the meta has slowed down.
Yeah, so as we alluded before, this deck plays no actual removal spells. I don't count Vera's Favor as a removal spell, though obviously it can be in circumstances. I imagine this punched more Auric Runehammers than it did anything else. And in the nature of good sportsmanship, I did not talk to Top 8 about this deck beforehand, and I'm therefore going into totally blind as to many of the card choices, which may look a little questionable from the outside. I suspect the reason for that is because they are a little questionable, but I'm willing to leave that as an exercise to the viewer to find out. I will, as a bone to Top 8, point out that his name for the deck was TPS Headgear.
Yes,
because he's all about the mask. So I thought that was
mask and crown.
Yeah, I don't know why there's a crown in here.
Yeah.
All right. So the actual combo of the deck, and the one that works really well, is the combination of all of Primal's card draw spells plus the Forgotten Amaran Camel and Mask of Torment. So Amaran Camel used to be a standby way back in the closed beta days in TPS control, where it just sat there and accumulated value, and then you gained a bunch of health. The aggro decks were forced to overextend because you were gaining all this health, and then you just harsh ruled them away. And believe it or not, in the early months of the game, playing one harsh rule was enough to win the game. Times have changed, but that's where it was. And then it saw a comeback when Chalice originally became a deck. People were playing it there, and now it's back with two different combos. So the first is Mask. If you got a Camel in play and you play a Mask, you can really boost your power up to get to that 20 mark, which this deck actually does if Camel survives for a turn or two. You know, you play you draw a card for your turn, you gain health, gain a power. You play Seek Power, draw and play a power, gain another power. You play Wisdom of the Elders, you play Strategize. Suddenly you've got 10 power in one turn that you just boosted. So very large amount, and it goes off really fast. Another place is each drawing a card instance triggers a different instance of health gain. So it really goes off with Catra, because every time you draw a card, it gives you a Catra trigger. There's only two in the deck, so we didn't see it all that often during the tournament. But when it went off, it went way off. And that's, to my mind, this is really the part of the deck that works and the core that makes it effective, because it allows you to boost up to very high amounts of power very quickly. And with so much card draw, there's a lot of reload to dig to your deeper things. And
Yes.
when you're regularly hitting 20 power, playing the Tormentor is, pretty good.
Yeah, and of course, when you're at the point of having 25, 30 power, you can often do just absolutely insane turns like, all right, I start my turn with Wisdom of the Elders. Oh, I drew a Channel of the Tempest. I use it as a piece of removal or throw it at my opponent's face. Oh, I draw a Yeti Pult and I play it and activate it. But of course, once you're at that point, most things will win you the game. Which I feel like is kind of this deck's problem a little bit, is this a lot of the card choices do feel a little win when you're already winning. Sunken Tower, Crown, the Lumen Reclaimer, probably maybe at least one of the Yeti Pults, maybe you cut both. If I were to try this deck on ladder, the Talir, if I were to try this deck on ladder, and did not just want to top right concede the moment my opponent played like Diplo Seal, choose fire. Those would be where I would look first for some amount of like hailstorms, possibly banishes, annihilates, suffocates, permafrost, that sort of thing. This was definitely a meta call list in terms of its exact build.
So a lot of this was that people weren't thinking in this direction. The FTP moment decks have moved away from the majority of their relics as actual enablers, and so people are light on the relic hate. Armory's not really a force right now. Chalice isn't a major thing, so people weren't ready to blow up Mask of Torments, which meant that they stuck around, which meant that this deck got to function. Again, there was very little aggro in the tournament, or even too much mid-range, and those that were, they look at this and they don't really know what's going on. Now that people have seen it, people will know, if you just punch them in the face a couple times, it's not like they've got any cards to stop you. Two cold blood, 3 banish in the side is not really going to stop a mid-range deck from doing its thing.
Right. And we saw that in the finals.
Yes. With a very quick 3-0. But I think I can guess at some of the spice choices, shall we say. Crown of Possibilities, I finally figured it out, is there for deadly Black Sky Harbingers, which you then bring back with Dark Return for massive value. I don't think they go too well with anything else, but that's
sometimes you get Destiny Temple Scribes.
Sunken Tower is there as your only removal spell to stun the board when you copy a unit for the 3rd time. But you see, it would be like playing Crystallize, but that's way too mainstream. So, we went with the Mimi option. Yeah. Or another Catra, or Yeti Pult, or Camel. Reckless Camels cannot attack because they have 0 attack, and 0 attack units cannot attack. So there's a combo. Yeah. The Yeti Pults, obviously, when you're pulling up 20 power, it's there for the ultimate, as well as another, or I guess that's not an ultimate, actually, now that I think about it.
No, it is in fact not an ultimate. Also, if your Yeti Pults get Endurance from Crown, you can activate it every turn.
There you go. There's another reason for Crown. and you can activate them so that your Sunken Tower copies don't need to attack. You can just avoid winning for as long as possible. And the Talir is obviously for spice. We're not going to complain about that one.
The Talir is for playing it when you're at 40 or more power, so you play ulted in the same turn.
Yeah.
Again, once you're at the point of 40 power.
I have had turns where I wish that I did play this deck on ladder. I suggest you don't. It does not beat aggro. It does not beat anything resembling aggro. But I have had turns where I have been at 36 and wished I could alt mask twice. But didn't have the 40 power to do it. So 40 power is still not all that much in the realm of possibility. It's interesting that this list doesn't play like Temporal or something as a top end and just chain channels. But this deck chains channels pretty well on its own, just using its own turn's power. So I think a version of this deck could become a powerful force in the slow versions of the metagame as an alternative. It attacks on a different axis from a lot of the other decks. The ramp means that it's able to get ahead of a lot of the other control decks. And when you've got a power advantage in the control mirror, you can do a whole lot of things, especially when you're both playing similar cards. You know, both players playing Channel the Tempest and what have you.
Yeah.
So the greedier the metagame gets, the more of a realistic choice this deck becomes. I think you'll need to tighten this list up a fair amount and probably add in some removal just in case some, rude person is still trying to play units or something gross like that. I don't know. But it definitely has potential, and I think it's really cool that it did well, and I think it's even cooler that it didn't win because it means that we won't see a bunch of copycat lists next week. Because you only find the second place deck if you're committed to looking down the list.
You have to scroll down past like the middle of the page on Eternal Warcry. But yeah, of course, this list did play a little bit of a concession to aggro in the side, as was mentioned a little bit. But we just saw in the finals just games 1 and 2 versus Argenport midrange, which again, it's not like it's not going to goldfish you on turn 4 or 5, but it is an aggressive midrange list. The Life Force deck just could not turn the corner. The Enforcer Silences could take care of a camel. The Black Sky Harbingers were easily answered by Slays. Yeah, they'd gain a little bit of life, but eventually the 5/3 Chronomaster Trader swings, the Paladins buffed by Blades or Bloodletters would just punch through the maybe like 40 life. Sometimes life gain just doesn't get you there if you aren't doing anything behind that life gain. And this deck does need a lot of setup time.
It also needs to exert itself mightily in order to actually remove anything, which means that it doesn't have the setup time to continue on with the stuff. So
yeah, an Argenport, if it can stick an Interrogator and put a unit on it, if they know that unit is really just never going to be able to be answered, except for maybe a Channel the Tempest, drawing 2 cards per turn will keep you up with even the dirtiest of control decks for a good long time.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can say in this deck's favor, it does not play Swindle. So we're not that desperate for card draw just yet.
Thank you, set 3 and strategize.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about enough about this list. Unfortunately, we don't have top 8 with us here tonight to give us the full insight, but we will talk about the other Dirtle deck that's been going around, although this one not quite as new.
No.
FTP Moment. Take 3 or 4.
Yeah. If you want to go back to when it had Curiax, and this is maybe like take 7 or 8, but yeah. This list really gained a whole lot in popularity after Equivocate came out. Batteries put Equivocate into his existing FTP Moment Curiax list. Eventually the Relics and Curiax package were cut. And we really saw this list gain a whole lot of popularity kind of between the end of Season 1 and the beginning of Season 2. Lights Out Ace picked it up, wrote an article about it. And it's been picked up by a lot of players. Platypus King, Sifu Danny played it in week 1. Ilya K has been playing it in both weeks 1 and 2 of this season. And we've seen a little bit of evolution of the list. The Scorpion Wasp were kind of an answer to Icaria, and unfortunately, as an answer to Tavrod, that isn't the best, but this deck can actually keep up with card advantage from its opponent very well. But it just kind of needs to get the Tavrod off the table. And then for week 2, we saw some sideboard changes. Devoted Thurge out, Lumen Defender in, Cerso as another anti-mid-range card, Boar over Ruin, because this deck doesn't really care about Armory. Ruin is really good against Armory because once a weapon is swung once, it's almost always gotten its value. And everything on top of that is just kind of icing. And so if it kills a unit and then gets ruined, or board rather, well, it's still insert 2 cards.
Yeah, slow speed relic removal also means that Armory can just slam another weapon next turn, whereas Ruin destroying a weapon mid-swing means that they cannot do that, which saves a lot of control decks, although this deck plays a bunch more units than you're used to seeing from a deck that we say is so unit light. Titan, Heart of the Vault, Molot, and M&M, well, we'll just say it that. As well as the moment tokens, give them a lot of fat bodies that give Armory some trouble and are part of the reason that Armory's not that popular right now.
Yeah. I've played Armory into this list. I've played this list into Armory, and sometimes this deck does have very unit light draws. When it's not running Wasp, and Wasp really isn't at its best against Armory. If you've got 4 Titan, 4 Heart, 2 Molot, 4 Moment, I mean, that's 14 units. And 4 of your units can be counterspelled. Of course, Armory isn't running counterspells unless it's like an Icaria blue style deck. But you can lose the matchup versus Armory if they just draw like 3 or 4 harsh rules, to go against your moments. They draw the slays to hit your individual units. But yeah, it is very favored toward the moment deck. That matchup.
Slay is your counterspell for units. They just have to resolve first.
Yeah. But we've recently we've seen this deck spike in popularity. We've seen kind of for the first time since maybe the middle of season 1, this deck really spike tournaments. I believe Batteries did top 8 or didn't make it on Breakers 1 week in season 1. Apologies, Batteries. I know you're out there watching. But week 1, it was a very popular deck. It put some people into the 4-2 bracket, didn't make it on Breakers, but this week it made 2 decks into the top 4. Do you have any speculation on, was it a better field? Were the sideboard changes that relevant?
So part of it is what I'm going to call the TJP mid-range effect, which is even if a deck is not suited to perform well in a field, if enough people bring that deck, it sort of becomes the field. And so the fact that it's not well suited means less because there's less percentage of bad matchups for it. So a lot more people brought the FTP moment here comparatively, by percentage, as this was a smaller tournament. And the decks that were successful were decks that FTP moment was mostly pretty good against, with of course the eventual exception of the Argenport list that took down the tournament. Dirtle was back in style. Some people were playing these ponderous mid-range decks. We'll call them Praxis and Elysian for want of better terms. And Moment don't really care. Moment play 2 8/8s, and then you look at your Elysian deck and you wonder why.
Yeah, I think I said this last week. Very often the card Moment of Creation doesn't read create 2 8/8s or 2 9/9s. It reads you immediately win the game because your opponent concedes.
Yes. Praxis looks at the opposing Heart of the Vault and says, hey, that's my thing. And Elysian looks at, Permafrost and Sandstorm Titan and say, hey, that's my thing. And it sort of does the best of both with the ability to go over the top of both as well, which makes it a pretty hard matchup to win. and has a number of sideboard tools in order to tune itself more effectively than those decks do. It is a little bit at the mercy of its power base, but we've seen that the three faction power bases are more or less figured out at this point, and they're pretty good, especially with a deck that's been iterated on as much as this one has.
Yeah. I would kind of expect, as you said, this deck has been iterated on a lot. I would expect to see, its adherents come back next week with probably a couple more small changes. Ilya and Batteries have been discussing taking out Flame Stoker to put in Shatterglass Mage. Another Praxis card, another Warp card. But they were talking about the matchups where one is good, one the other is good. How often are you bringing in Flame Stoker, etc. And it's actually been very cool to see the kind of very public iteration on this list between the various adherents and public figures that are, pushing it forward.
When interviewed on the chain, Shatterglass Mage said, "Yeah."
Thanks, Dad. Thanks.
Sorry. I love Yelling Mage and
Yes.
miss it in decks. One thing that I will say about this list that's interesting is that while it doesn't play a lot of silence effects, just about 3 plus a polymorph. Dawnwalkers aren't particularly effective against this deck because of the higher unit density. You just slam a Sandstorm Titan or something. So the time-based decks that usually excel at grinding out control decks through that route aren't really able to do that here. And with Macdo more or less on the sidelines, except for Argenport, there's not a lot of things that punish you that much for playing this sort of ponderous game. Everybody's so
Well,
afraid of the harsh rule decks that you can kind of get away with not playing harsh rule nowadays.
that and Equivocate and usually one of, sometimes two of after a sideboard. Purify take care of Dawnwalker and Macdo incredibly well. Sure, you give them a 3-cost unit, even if they get a good 3-cost unit, you have so many card advantage cards. You can keep up with the fact that Equivocate is just here. Your recurring threat is away. Yeah.
Sorry, I unintentionally gave you a chance to extol the virtues of Equivocate. I keep forgetting that Equivocate is not in fact teleport. It is a little bit better. It's a lot better.
It's a lot better.
Against opposing units. So yes, you don't have these sort of long game strategies, even though the deck doesn't have Steward of the Past, may he rest in peace, or Statuary Maiden, may she rest in peace.
I think Maiden is just lacking a shell.
Yeah. Stonescar midrange hasn't really been a thing ever since it stopped having the best cards in the game, like 1 through 5.
Yeah.
So, you do eventually need to draw cards in all archetypes, even if we've spent 2 years pretending that that's not the case. At all costs.
Yeah. But I think we've definitely talked about this deck a whole lot. We'll probably talk about it again next week. It's one of my favorite decks at the moment. But let's talk about the kind of new kid on the block-ish Huru midrange.
This deck picked up a lot of popularity for like 2 weeks after Bruised by God took it for a spin before Bruised by God revealed that he can take any mid-range deck for a really good week. And it wasn't actually the deck that was super good, but Huru Pacifier, definitely a big boost. Shelterwing Rider's actual buff, definitely a big boost. And people taking Nostrix seriously means that, this is a pretty good package. The major innovation here is the addition of Crownwatch Paladin to the main deck to give it more tools to attack those control decks. Everything we said about Crownwatch Paladin in the Argenport section applies here, with the exception that, if Crownwatch Paladin isn't so good and they've got a lot of ground blockers, well, this deck has a lot of flyers to go over the top. It doesn't really go so much for the weapons, relying more on the synergies with, Unseen Commando and then Aegis flyers to bash through.
Yeah, and then of course, Huru Pacifier, the only addition to this deck from Dead Reckoning. We actually saw some pretty great moments on stream where the weapon text mattered. The match, Sifu Danny versus Ferretsbro, I believe. It stopped a Vadius activation from being anything but play 7 power to pay 7 power. Unfortunate for Farad's Bro, who did not know the interaction or did not pause before he, clicked ability, clicked attack. Just kind of ran his 3/2 Vadius into a 5/5.
Yeah, people are very used to, we don't think about where these weapons are coming from when they're from Ultimate or something like it's that 1/2 gunslinger dude.
Steady Marshal?
Steady Marshal.
Yeah.
Hoover Pacifier doesn't say, your opponent can't play weapons or players can't play weapons. It says weapons can't be played, from any source.
Exactly.
So the unit tries to play a weapon on itself. It can't do that, but that's not something that we stop to think about most of the time. So I don't blame him for that. I've made similar plays into Hoover Pacifiers a couple of times.
Yeah.
More on the gunslinger side, where I play Steady Marshal and it goes, ha-ha! Still a 1/2.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd personally done testing with this right after the card came out, and Vadius, Jack, any of the gunslingers that are not just this card gains +1/+1, it is this card gains a +1/+1 weapon. All of them just fizzle. The ultimate is used. You don't even get the chakram into your void for the sake of, like reforge or stash or something like that. It just does not come into existence. You actually get some really cool looking effects when you swing with like a 12 unit board with a Jack on it into a Hoover Pacifier. It flashes like 12 times as an indication of, no, that didn't get a weapon, no, that didn't get a weapon, etc., etc.
So you're the guy that broke the premium effects on cards for a little bit after set 3.
Apparently
where
so.
premiums always had that big square in the middle of the screen whenever you played them in lieu of their shining effect.
Yeah. Although, of course, that was after Dead Reckoning, not set 3, that we did that test. But no, but yeah. So this deck, I think, also may have been a little bit of a reaction to FPS Scream. When you look at it, this deck, FPS Scream, kind of a burn deck, kind of a relies on hunting Scream deck, and when you have, sure, it doesn't have like the 8 silence Combray package of Desert Marshal and Doc Reinforcer. Doc Reinforcer, when it silences, a valuable Scream target, then just sits in the air as a 3/3. It kind of 2-for-1s on its own. Shelterwing Rider, okay, sure, they pop the Aegis with like a Highwayman ping. Well, now it's basically a Dune Phantom. Kothon can put on pressure and still be sitting back as a blocker, and if you can ultimate it, it is, air pressure and then a blocker and a second blocker. And so this deck seems like, and Unseen Commando can gain some life back, because that deck is really more of a burn deck than a screen tempo deck. And so if this deck can even get off the ground remotely, it's just going to stonewall the FPS Scream plan.
You don't really need to choose between deploying your threats and blocking, since all of your threats are the flying blockers, so they need to first deal with them before they can scream. Levitate, it's played in some builds, not really a card against this deck, although it is effective against the various Aegis units. In terms of evasion, it's not really, since everything flies. And you've got a fast enough clock that the Scream player needs to think about themselves rather than beating through for damage. And no, even if they're drawing a couple cards, as long as you kill them, it all works out in the end.
Yeah. Also, quick shout out to Amili. It's an attacker that leaves back a blocker. It doesn't have endurance, but against Scream, you most often just need anything in the air, let alone a good blocker. And a 1/1 stops a screamed Bandit Queen from actually connecting for the 4 damage to face directly. It stops a Gorgon Fanatic from being a draw 3. Kothon, as mentioned, the body of Shelterwing Rider. Yeah, this deck is very, very good against Scream. Oh, and then you get to the sideboard games, and they have
Hailstorm,
Bring Down, and Unseal, and Hailstorm.
So the deck's really well set up to beat what Scream is doing, and the fact that this deck came out in so much force, as did
mhm.
Scream, is probably one of the major reasons for Scream not doing so hot this time around.
Yeah,
So a good meta correction there, although this deck did not end up performing too well against the Moment decks overall. The Moment decks ended up coming out on top in that exchange, probably because the deck is kind of slow. You have your protects and things, but protect is not the card that it was when it cost half as much. And unseal is nice and all, stops the moments, but it does not stop something like Heart of the Vault from ruining your day, or
yeah.
a Sandstorm Titan. So
I will say this matchup isn't like abhorrent for the Hoover mid-range deck. If the moment player doesn't find a Titan,
hmm
um,
and find and protect a Titan from
yes,
one of the vanquishes, it can be quite
yes,
tough for the FTP player. But it's
yeah,
also it's a mid-range deck that gives a little bit more time for moment to play and doesn't have a sideboard quite on the same level as something like Sabotage plus all those other cards that Argenport gets to play with.
yeah. I just want to talk a little bit real quick. Since so many people did bring this Hoover mid-range list, we chose Sifu Danny because he was the instance of the deck in the top 8. Our own Flash brought the deck to a 4-2 finish. I believe finished 9th or 10th on breakers.
He was not pleased.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to make it to 4-2 and then only just barely miss top 8. There are certainly some flex slots in this list. Your number of finest hours. If you want protect in the main board, Sifu Danny had the mirror image spice. Although mirror image is very, very good with a lot of the cards in this deck. If you have a Shelter Wing Rider that's had its Aegis popped, you cast mirror image on it. Compared to protect, if you cast protect on it, yeah, you get a 5/5 again. If you cast mirror image on it, you get a 5/5, and you still have the original 0/5 that had its Aegis popped. Of course, mirror image has the propensity to get blown out by, like, if you're going to cast it on a Kothon or a Unseen Commando, you can get blown out by Torch or Valkyrie Enforcer. But
It's
when it
hard for
goes on,
mirror image to get blown out nowadays. Now that nobody plays Death Strike anymore, there just
yes,
isn't that much fast removal. And if you're not playing directly into Annihilate, like you have a Death Wish, uh, as long as you point it at something that isn't torchable or annihilatable, there's actual zero cards that can blow you out of a mirror image. The only real flaw there is not drawing enough actual units to play it, or not having any left in play. But that's not something that this Huru deck struggles with too much. So having one or two can be a nice addition.
mhm. Yeah, and then of course you have I have mentored a thing with no Strix. Now I make a copy of it, getting 10/10 worth of stats out of its sort of interactions. Or if you had an Amelie that swung like 3 times, well, now you have 2 Amelies that have swung 3 times. This deck really does take advantage of mirror image the most. The most I think I've seen any fair deck take advantage of it. It's not trying to put together some combo piece win. It's not trying to go infinite in one turn. It just wants to get really good value.
Maybe if we cut all the Huru pieces and put in like a Cabal Spymaster, maybe a Calderon Gunsmith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get X Kirby on the case. He can tell us how to do it.
So those were our 4 decks. Spotlight for this weekend. This weekend, very focused on where its innovation was. Huru mid-range, the big topic that was popping up, the further evolution of FTP Moment, and the new headgear deck, which was a bit of a rogue deck. As my producer jumps the gun here a little bit, we're going to be talking about the invitational points, which will be excellent because since I didn't do them for week 1, they're going to be a huge surprise to everybody for who's leading, and this will be the dramatic unveiling as we transition over to those now. Child Roland leads the top of the pile, as well as, for the first time since actual season 2 last year of 2017, Ilya K tied for first with 11 points. Mooch, Mooch's long lost brother, is our other 11 pointer, and we've got a couple of regulars with Paradox, Puppy, and Sifu Danny sitting at the 8 points. So a 3-point gap between the leaders and the in the second
Mhm.
place. Did Child roll in double top 8
Yes,
the first 2 weeks, I believe?
yes. He took only top 8 this time around.
And second last week?
Yes,
That sounds
second
right.
in the first week. Yeah, he's definitely having a bit of a tear in
Mhm.
2018.
So, pretty successful for him there. Not too much information, exciting stuff on the SP front. Child Roland has passed his entire last season's SP total, which is a little bit easier since we put a lot more SP into the system, but still a great accomplishment for him considering he won a damn invitational. So he's having a great season so far, and I look forward to seeing what he does there. Unfortunately, for such an aggro player, most of his success hasn't been with aggro this season.
Yeah, he's been on the SPG special Dark Heart.
Hmm.
We saw that a lot in early mid-season. Sorry, set two, not season two. Season 5, I believe, of last year, and it's kind of been a recurring a deck that's coming back because it's still a mid-range deck in the ways that it takes advantage of, you know, versus aggro decks. It doesn't go super over the top, but it does definitely go over the top of mid-range mirrors, by the ability to play better removal and bring in Dark Return to play as hearts number 5 through possibly 8, although that used to be kind of the old strategy, and the number of Dark Returns has gone down recently.
Yeah, I think the original builds were something like 4 Heart of the Vault, 4 Dark Return. Who cares what else I'm playing in my deck? I want to play more Heart of the Vaults. Uh,
Yes.
as is tradition for any new build, you always start with the 4 mirror images and then realize you don't actually want 4. But it's been a little bit lighter of a season. A lot of players are either relaxing a little bit or just haven't quite got there, as we see the Phantom E reappear on Moose. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Um,
Sorry.
it would have gone unnoticed if I hadn't publicly pointed it out, both coming in and going. Um, but well, these are all players that are making their marks right now, and what better time for it since we're about to run a tournament in which a player's perceived standing is very important indeed.
I
As
do want to give a real quick shout out to Ilya, who's having a very strong season after being a little bit of a slump. Kind of hopefully returning to form and can show the world once again that he is one of the top ladder players and one of the top tournament players. But yes, let's talk about your new genius idea, RNG.
Well, it's certainly an idea. Genius, crazy. It all depends on whether or not it works. So we are running the world's first ever Eternal player draft format, where we combine 2 aspects that you wouldn't normally expect to see in a card game, which are the player drafts that you normally associate with physical sports like football, hockey, things like that, as well as team play. Everybody was asking me what Team League was going to look like for season 3, and I didn't know, so I built this instead as sort of a stopgap maneuver there. We don't have a slide for this with all the rules up, but I'll take you through them quickly. Basically, everybody registers into the tournament and goes into a big player pool. Just for fun, me and Rek will on Friday night be rating all of the players and telling you who we think our top picks for the draft are. We're going to choose some team captains, and then we'll go into the actual draft, and players will draft out 4 players to build their team. There will be enough team captains to make sure that everybody is picked. So once everybody is drafted, and that will be taking place live on Sunday, they will have a week to build their decks, and then everybody will play a team match. This is very complex to keep in my head without a paper in front of me, but 5 players on a team. Each player has a deck, and they will play one set in the match. These sets will be played simultaneously, so it'll be like a big best of 5. There's a lot of layers to this, but the part that's coming up right now is the player draft. If you are at all interested in, playing in a team tournament, going through a player draft, or just seeing how much people people want you to be on their team, and meeting some new people, this is definitely the tournament for you. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to play it up as very much a fun tournament. There's not a ton on the line here. There's no money on the line, but the winning team will get brought over to All Stars to have some more fun there. So very tongue in cheek.
This is kind of a format trial tournament. You know, if we get players excited, if we get good feedback, we will. It's entirely likely we will bring this back again as a more serious style tournament. You know, but if everything goes smoothly, then
which there's no way everything goes smoothly. There's way too many moving parts here for this to happen. But a lot of the tournament regulars are pretty excited. Already drafting up their teams. Look forward tomorrow for a Reddit special of who will your dream team be, as we ask you guys, you know, if you could pick any 4 other players in Eternal to be on your team, who would you choose? I admit I've been thinking about this ever since somebody asked me in season 2 which players I would want on my team, and it's gone so far. And there are enough good players that not only do I have an A team, I have a B team of people I would pick if A team is not available. So look forward to that tomorrow. The deadline to sign. Am I back?
all right, we're back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right.
Hooray for no delay. So as was asked by the chat, the registration deadline is Thursday night, so 3 days from today. And after that Thursday, we're going to have about 12 hours to rank all the players, to put together all our crazy graphics and thing. And we're going to do a special episode of Best of 3 focused on the player draft format. We're going to have desk. We're all going to have beards. We're going to be talking back and forth. It's going to be an NHL draft night all over again, but this time it's going to be Eternal players. So you'll want to participate just to find out where we place you, if for no other reason. And then you can complain that you're underrated. It's going to be sweet. I'm excited.
Yeah. RNG showing off his Canadianness, the NHL draft.
I mean, the NHL draft has been pretty exciting lately. The NFL draft hasn't been all that exciting since, you know, Cam Newton went to Carolina and Andrew Luck went to Indianapolis as 1 and 2. So haven't really been following as much football lately.
I'll take your word for it.
But more than rekenner, apparently.
All right.
Spot the tennis player.
You know, actually, I did used to play a decent amount of tennis back when I was a youngin.
Last year.
Yep.
We're still youngins. We've got lots of drafting ahead of us.
But yeah, no, we will. You know, we hope this tournament will turn out. Yes, I guess if not smoothly, then reasonably smoothly, and come back with it again, possibly as a somewhat taking some of the lessons from it for season 3 of Team League. But yeah.
So the odds that player draft makes it through is very low, but really this is testing out a new team format with the simultaneous play and the unified decks and things. And people talked about doing a team draft, so I figured, you know what, let's do it for fun. And that's really the thing, you know. People who may not know too many players to form a team to play in Team League can get a chance to experience what being on a team like that is like. You know, they can make some connections with 4 other people that they may not know before. And it's good for the new players if they can get past the intimidation of the ranking and the player draft and whatnot, which, you know, it's all just for fun. There's nothing on the line. Nobody's going to be, you know, upset with you if something doesn't go well. So if you're at all interested in any of those things, be sure to come out. Although
Indeed.
I imagine the players that I'm trying to reach right now are unlikely to be watching a tournament talk show
Quite possibly
Monday night. But
yeah, so we of course have the other standard tournaments coming up. The Kalari's North American and EU Opens on the 10th, so tomorrow afternoon, rather. The TGP Team Great Parliament Casual Fridays on Friday the 13th. And of course, our ETS Open Week 3 on Saturday, April 14th. And of course, the best place to find information about all of these for the team draft is actually the most recent article on the front page of RNGEternal.com. For the ETS, the best place to find the information for that is RNGEternal.com/ETS. And for the others, it is just in the tournament info channel on the Eternal Discord. So I guess with that, we will be wrapping up. If there's any more viewer questions, if there are any questions about the tournaments we've mentioned, the tournament format for the player draft tournament.
So we do have a special surprise for you guys. The surprise is we didn't get anyone to be in the interview. Surprise! So we will not have an interview portion of the show today, unfortunately. We're running around just a little bit, but we'll be debuting, or not debuting, but we will be refining some of the other aspects of our shows. Would Overmaster be on my C team? As long as my C team is my meme team, absolutely. Overmaster, one of my favorite people to both quote and make fun of. Four Owl is all I have to say there. Although that's ancient history now compared to his much more used. Doesn't always play out like that.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. So the other segment of the show that usually goes after the interview, I say usually, we've done it once, is the much requested sub best of 3 battles. So RNGEternal subs can submit decks, and no matter how good or bad they are, we will be forced to play them in a best of 3 against each other for a show of eternal dominance and internal dominance, as it's RNGEternal members playing. Overmaster unfortunately got a little bit too excited, and we're doing some chat bopping right now. But yeah, anybody in the chat who has a sweet deck to share, just paste in the Eternal Warcry link, and we will load up the first 2.
And if no one pastes a deck, RNG and I will play the first 2 decks in our most recently played decks against each other.
Really?
I think that was the plan.
My most recently played deck is actually good.
Ooh.
I know Kalo said that they had a amazing, I put that in quotes, deck for us that rekenner wants to play, because I've seen the deck and I think rekenner should play it. So if anybody has any of those on hand, you can give us a serious deck too if you want to, see how well Miller pilots. What's a difficult deck to pilot? Give him Spellcrag. You think Spellcrag's a deck?
Ooh, Battery says he has a deck.
I'll have you know that Temporal is quite difficult to pilot.
What's the quote about control players playing control decks because it makes them think they're clever?
I mean, Temporal in particular, as soon as you land that Temporal, all the deck does is it just draws cards. And, oh, you're such a good player. Look at you. Look how many cards you have in your hand. Look how many cards you play.
All right. Batteries has requested a deck for you, RNG.
All right.
All right. Should I just load up Dragon Power? I think that's the request.
All right. We've boldly gone so far as to offer a modified version of Headgear. I'm probably going to need to screen share at some point, but let me.
I'm just going to let the folks hear me talk about this. I'm live on. So are we doing rekenner versus RNG? I'm going to set that up. Who wants to be player 1?
Well, we got 3 people now.
Yeah.
So.
We got 3 people?
Yeah, you got you, me, and rekenner.
Yeah, but I can only do 1 match at a time. Unfortunately.
You can't do 3-way Eternal?
No.
Unlucky.
Unlucky.
Right. I'm happy just sharing my screen and trusting in rekenner's inability to win, even if he can see my cards.
Ooh.
Oh, all right. So let's see. I'll just do.
Do we have any good names that we can hover over for chat? I guess if I'm
Wait a
not
second.
player 1,
Actually, you know what we need to do is I need to spectate you, RNG.
Oh, that makes a lot.
That way we get RNG's face.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, that makes a lot more sense. Last time, we only had 2 people, so it was a little bit easier to set up. All right, so that's 1 deck. And did we get a second?
Yeah. I will play the Kylos special.
Yikes! Is it Kylos? Is that AE and I?
Pretty sure that's
Is it not Kalos?
We need a official pronunciation,
I'm trying to
please.
think of the way she's pronounced it. Kylos is just the way I've always pronounced it in my head. You'd think I would know this.
I think Kylos or Kalos might know this. Latin. All right, but is it? But
It's the Latin pronunciation, you see.
So yes, Kylos.
That would be more useful if I spoke Latin.
All right.
Fortunately, Latin is one of the many languages I do not speak. Rex got it. All right.
All right. So tell me when you're ready.
I was ready for this. Oh no, I got challenged. Now we have double to challenge and hang. All right, here we go. So really, what I want to hear is chats over under on who's going to win this matchup, and why it's me.
Because they have seen the deck I'm playing before, is why it's you.
Do you think Vera's choice is good against you?
You have your spectate thingy turned off.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right, he does.
I can turn on 24-hour clock display. Does that help?
Not today.
All right, it should be on now.
All right.
Do I have to concede? Oh no. Okay.
No, you're good. All right, we're good.
I'm really surprised Rek didn't chime in with an absolutely.
Wait, I think I should put.
Wait a minute. That's a unit.
Dun dun dun.
He's playing.
Rek, I've never seen this happen to you before. Is everything okay?
It's like Brady said about Desert Marshal. It's not really a spell. It's not really a unit. It's just a spell on a stick.
Well, then you should play Horus Traver. None of this ramping stuff. Rek will lose because of the deck, but I will be entertained. Unfortunately, I don't actually play any good cards in this deck, I think.
That makes 2 of us.
Why do I have a Devour? Why is there a Devour in here? What the hell?
Well, that's for your Katras.
Yeah.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks. It's for Katra. I'm kind of missing a color, though. This power base was not well designed.
Shots fired.
I mean, you're over here on perfect 5 color, and I'm over here on.
You know, you're not wrong.
Elysian.
You're not wrong.
I feel like this game was rigged to make Rek seem better than. Oh. Discards harsh rule to hand size. I like it.
I don't think that was necessarily hand size, but the necessary thing you have to do with looting. But okay.
That's hand size to me. All right, get back in there.
No.
We'll be having no more of that.
You know. This feels bad.
That does feel bad. Now you won't
Yeah,
have
it
it
does.
for my camel. What do you do? What do you do now?
I'll
What?
play Dawnwalker.
What?
Can my deck? Can I get to 4 time influence in this
All
deck?
right.
And do I have anything that can? Yes, I can recur it. Snap.
I could make the good play, or no. You know what? I'm just gonna play Mask. Whatever.
Oh shit.
This may end up being a mistake. We're taking heavy fire. I really need that second. What? Okay, so that'll get me to my second color, hopefully.
We found it.
Goodbye,
Oh,
Don Walker.
Shit. Goodbye, my entire board and power base.
My strategy.
Finding a shadow source was my downfall.
It's for the ions, man. It's for the ions.
What did you do to this? All right, Rec can't see it. I'm putting on
no.
cream on the bottom.
Oh, it was in the name of the deck. It was in the name of the deck.
Why is there a haunting scream? All right, you know what? It's probably fine. It's
the camel. The camel
Okay.
approaches.
All right, we didn't hit anything,
Pretty much.
but we're growing.
No, I should have. That was a mistake last turn. Well.
Are you just cradling up in front of me?
Rick just won the game.
Yeah.
I'd like to note for the chat that these are, of course, foil cradles. We
Hell
no,
yeah.
actually only
Oh,
one
one
of
of
them is
them is.
foil.
I naturally cracked a foil cradle. I'm not that crazy.
Hello?
That crazy.
Hello? What? Why? Why? All right, I guess it's for the scream. Sure.
All right. All right. I'm gonna go off.
Are you gonna harsh roll? No. This is not a harsh roll.
I've played 2 spells. I've generated 80% of a dragon.
There you go. All right, he doesn't have harsh roll. He got rid of it.
Let the ritual commence.
Oh shit! He has Katra.
You know what? Let's
I
bring
got too
back
greedy.
the world's largest temple scribe.
A 4/4 temple scribe. I approve.
I probably could have brought back. No, you know what? It's the greatest value play that's ever been made.
Oh shit! Is that good? No,
It-
it's not. But
It might be good.
oh, yo.
As long as you don't have a harsh rule. I'm not playing around harsh rule very well here.
Well.
But there's no way he is a harsh rule.
All right. Moral victory. Moral victory.
I would have killed the camel.
Boonk.
My mask! He's getting
I just-
to
I just stone rained you 8 times.
So how many
8.
how many spells is that on the cradle?
That would be 4 on both of them. Do
Nice
I have
try.
do I have a 1-cost spell? Are you feeling lucky?
I don't think he has it. He's got another torch.
Yeah.
All right, I like that discard harsh rule on turn 3, lose the game.
Well, I
strategy.
had 3. I had 2 mana dorks and something else on the table. I think harsh rule there was probably the right pitch. Question mark. All right, let's sideboard this deck with cards that could reasonably be in the sideboard, I guess.
Did they put a sideboard? Because we were just playing them best of 3 without them before last night
Oh.
or last week.
No, she did not actually make a sideboard for this deck.
All
I
right.
don't believe.
Run it back. It's main deck versus main
Huh?
deck.
All
The way
right,
the
run it back.
tournaments are meant to be played.
Hey.
Your challenge was rejected.
No, you that's because you challenged me.
Oh. All
Oh,
right. All right. You challenge me, RNG. That way, I don't challenge you when we hang for 5 minutes.
am I not playing against Miller Tool?
Best of 3 versus Rec, and then I play winner. How about that?
All right.
So you
we're
play
gonna-
against RNG.
We're gonna need another sub deck. This is a great opportunity for some of the subs in chat to build great decks for Miller. He likes dirtling and only dirtling.
I like linear aggro decks also,
Whoa.
Do I keep this?
and
one?
mid range. I like all decks.
I don't think
Stupid
so.
combo, whatever.
Yeah, I figured last game if I didn't get there on the 2-1 beatdown plan, I probably wasn't going to get there ever.
I liked your almost get a dragon plan. That really
Yeah?
made your that really made Cradle look like a strong card. See,
Almost
really,
amazing.
I got the better end of this deal because I've got all these scout cards that allow me to put the bad cards that got put in on the bottom of the deck, so that I don't need to draw them.
Unfortunately, I have to play the bad cards in my deck because they're the only way to win, because it's a deck with Caldera and Cradle in it.
So how do we feel about people getting around the sub deck submission by giving them to actual subs?
I'll allow it.
Collusion. I will not allow this though.
I've been overruled. Okay.
No!
You must.
My voice with the speaker, why? Oh, yo, that was an upgrade. Let's go.
Is
No,
there-
a
is
card
anything-
that is played in the game Eternal.
I can't beat it. Oh no!
Can you beat a 4/4?
I don't know. Let's find out. There's no way he blocks.
Let's go. Call your bluff.
Unlucky.
Unlucky.
He got a 2/2. What are the odds?
I can't. I just realized the flaw in my cunning plan.
That's why it was here. I knew it all along. Overmaster must have had a hand in this because
I just realized the flaw in my cunning plan of how this next couple turns were gonna play out.
no, you know what? It's fine. We got the Dark Return. We're good. We're good. We're good.
All right. For you see, I have 2 cards in my hand that require primal, but I do have a second torch. Get wrecked.
What?
Get wrecked.
All right, guys. I'd like to. Actually, I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can see this.
Got there. Got there. Thundershot, are you watching? Boom.
All right. You can now make your deck better by getting rid of it.
Yes. I hope you're out there. Watch. I hope you're out there. Thundershot, this one's for you. I played the card, Film Cauldron.
Why is there fire in your deck? Oh,
You
torch.
saw the.
Right. Because torch is the
You
first thing
saw
that you
it.
think of. Oh wait, you've got cradle too.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Because there's something going on here. I don't know what, but something's up. That probably wins the game.
Possibly.
Alright, there's no evidence of collusion here because someone posted a deck and someone independently went through Eternal Warcry and found that exact deck.
Let the rich
See, it's completely legit.
Isn't the world wonderful?
Yep. World's great.
I bet you've never seen a
Oh,
Gorgon fanatic trigger Catra before this particular turn.
You know, that is true. Although drawing the 4th recursion effect is a little cheats. There's only 3rd recursion effect.
That's
little
a new one
cheats.
for me, but not for this Dex builder. That probably happened a lot in testing.
Get wrecked, scrub. I didn't pitch it this time.
He's a smarter man than he looks. You didn't pitch your last card to to Cauldron.
Nope.
How are you gonna get your spells?
I have to show you the 3rd piece of Voltron. It's not quite as good as Exodia. I don't
Is
win
it,
if I get all 3 of them in play at the same time.
I happen to know what it is. And
Do
it's
you?
a great card, and you should play it in every deck. It's Excavator.
Damn it, he does know.
I
How
told
did
you
he
I saw this
guess?
deck. You got to discard that last card though. Doesn't matter what it is. You're going for Cauldron.
Fuck it. Heal 1.
Yeah, you know what this deck reminds me of? This deck
Oh
reminds
shit, he has cards. Why
of
does he have
Yes
cards?
Paladin. Do you remember
Yes
Yes
Paladin?
Paladin?
No, I don't.
So you blow up your entire deck and then you concede.
What? What is that, a Hearthstone deck or a Magic
Yeah,
deck?
it's a Hearthstone deck.
Oh, it's the one card that you like get rid of all cards under X cost or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you blow up your deck
Okay.
and you think to yourself, yes, and then you lose.
All right, I'm going to claim moral victory once again.
I missed.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, if you find Harsh Rule,
You know, you're not wrong. Or a Strand of Shadows.
Yeah.
Um,
or you could find a bunch of accelerates and trail stories and wonder why you're playing Cauldron. Oh, all right, all right. Are we at dragon status yet? We are not.
mm.
All right, it's fine. It's fine.
You have to play it now. You have to play it.
Oh no.
Just to remind you I'm here.
Wow.
Listen, it wouldn't be an RNGEternal stream without next level BM.
Oh, what now? Who's the BM King now? I played a
You made it.
spell.
Did you make a dragon off of that?
No.
3. Alright, alright. Alright, we'll have no
Oh,
more
you won the
those.
50-50. How lucky. How lucky he won the 50-50. That he needed that exact card to beat me.
I like the impression.
Oh, I can still play a card in my hand though.
Uh-oh.
Boom.
Oh, we're going off. Going
Yeah,
off.
you're doing something. Oh, hey, Temple Scribe with Camel. You get 2 procs. The hot tech.
Let the ritual
Nice sequencing.
Alright,
Concert
alright,
after
alright,
Temple Scribe.
Alright, we successfully defeated the 5-color excavator channel Cauldron deck. I don't know how, but we managed it.
All right, now Temporal versus TPS Scream, I believe, is the next plan.
Temporal
Or are we
sounds good.
switching-
Somebody, okay, so the independently posted one was a deck that I probably can't play, and I don't think I have 4 Thud Rocks.
Do you have Mask? You can just use Mask.
Ugh. Okay. I don't know.
I can play it. I can play like anything. That's not true, but it sounds good.
All right, let me just see what I got here.
Create unowned cards.
Thud,
What am
I have
missing?
one Thud Rock.
Yeah, I think I only have 1 Thud Rock too. No, I have 2.
Wait,
That's all I'm missing though. Yeah,
I
we're
don't.
good.
I must have 0 masks.
How many Thud Rocks do I have?
I have 0 masks.
I've opened 2. There you go.
You have 0 masks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, looks like Rek might be up again.
All right.
I only have 2 masks and 2 Thud Rocks.
Mm.
All right. Well, craft one of them.
Hulk says he would sub if we played his deck.
I'm in. Do it.
All right,
It
all right.
seems good.
Hulk, if you don't sub, you're banned from the ETS.
Okay.
I'm playing your
I'll go
deck.
one better.
Enforceable.
You're dropped from player draft.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Done.
Oh shit!
I'll play the Yeti deck. I'm still playing the Yeti deck, but Miller will play Hulk's deck. So
Okay.
Hulk, you need to make a real deck. Or not a real deck, but a deck with cards that Miller owns.
No, he.
If only
No, he
Eternal
did.
Warcry.
He did. His deck doesn't even have legendaries in it.
Oh, bold. Does it have playable cards in it?
I haven't checked. It looks.
There's no way.
It's Combre something.
Combre.
Combre something.
Combre. What year is it?
The year of Combre.
That may have been last year.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, yo, what? Oh, this deck is some spicy. Okay. This deck is spicy.
Wait,
I like
who's-
it, Hulk. I like it.
It looks lucky.
All right. Let's see. All right. I gotta fix this. Okay. Video host.
Do I need to share now?
No, I'm gonna be player 1.
Yeah, so I need to screen share is what I mean.
No.
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 We just play handless for player 2?
Well, I'm gonna see the crap out of your hand.
I trust you.
I can't not look at it. I mean, I have to check. Well, we went handless with Rack and it was fine.
Okay, well, we'll just keep with that.
All right. Are we good? All right. I'm gonna look away from the stream. Okay.
Chat's reactions to that game were pretty great. Now that I'm scrolling back up.
Yeah.
I mean, my reactions to that game were pretty great.
It was fun.
Why was there a haunting stream? I don't know. All right.
I'm ready.
Let me know. Challenge me when ready.
Okay.
My secret, I'm always ready.
Damn.
All right. Let me pull up this screen.
So this was Overmaster's independently found deck list, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a control deck?
It's Yetis.
Also, I haven't dropped a game yet in best of 3.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
If only RNG could be in the player draft, he would be a first round pick. See, that's the reason.
I actually created player draft to find out how much people like me. It's the whole point.
That's the reason I'm not going to be playing. It's not to do with the fact that I'm going to be busy this month, and or even if I wasn't busy, I would be helping on the back end. It's because I know that I would not get picked, so I'm not gonna have myself go through that.
It's okay. We have a plan. If we don't end up with enough people, we will conscript them from the RNGEternal team, and the unlucky captain will end up with, rekenner or EX Kirby or somebody like that on their team.
Damn, that's threats.
I have the hard counter.
Lump. Doesn't deal.
Womp womp.
Oh, now I can't. This feels real bad. Okay.
You could jump it.
I could. I could do that. Save 1 damage.
Does Wump stand alone?
God, what is happening here? Okay.
I thought you liked linear aggro decks. Isn't that what you were playing?
I don't care for the. All right, let me just see. What's the best play here? What do you do? Yeah. Okay.
Don't do it. He did it. Oh, well, you know what? That was a mistake, buddy.
Why? Oh, because you have a
You
flyer.
walked right into my power glider.
What does he do?
That's a
Oh,
good question.
he stuns an enemy with flying for whatever reason. Okay.
Well, you see, it's because he's on a
A glider.
icicle snowboard and
And stuff and things.
you know what? Deal with it. That's what he does.
Well, let's see. I'm just gonna silence this guy because I don't like him personally. I've got a personal
What?
vendetta against him.
What? Alright. You're just cheating.
God, what is this?
Taunt is cheat.
This is ridiculous. You're scouting way too much. Okay.
I won't say this is better than Skycrack, but this is better than Skycrack. I mean, my 1 drop totally countered your 3 drop, and then my no, that's all that happened.
I think I still die. It's way too much overwhelming.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think you're actually dead, but
Like, close enough.
Looking up the song lyrics to
let's see. What if you
Face
block-
Never Trade on Google, you actually find topics from as recent as late 2017 saying taunt needs to be nerfed. Good old Blizzard forums.
I think the reason is because taunt needs to be nerfed.
Oh, I did not. I can't count. I lose.
You said you were gonna die,
I was right.
and you were right.
Counting not notably a skill needed to be a producer at RNGEternal.
Nope. Don't need it.
Although, honestly, with lethal spotting skills like those, we could use you in the casting booth.
Ooh.
As soon as you hit the casting booth, you can't count at all.
You also lose the ability to see influence symbols.
Yes, they are invisible, and you wonder why someone is not playing their card for 2 weeks.
All right, let's try this again. This is going to be a lot better this time. I don't know why. We're just going to be positive, though.
I
Always
like
gonna be
positive
positive.
feedback.
All right, Hulk, I'm playing your deck in casual. I just got my lucky prospector Varus favored.
Ouch.
I conceded on the spot.
Sending a message.
It's a good game one.
Speaking of messages that are sent, the message that I want to see is
How come-
Hulkbuster has subscribed.
Yeah, we're not seeing that yet.
I don't know about this.
How come I can't... Let's see. Did we... I challenged you, but it's not working.
Did you
Yeah,
challenge
I
each other at the same time?
I can back out. All right, I backed out.
Okay, let me send it one more time.
He says he's trying to get the Amazon Prime sub to work. A likely story. Bamboozle equal bamboozle.
So apparently, my canceling that match is counted as a concession, but I do not believe it.
I'm restarting Eternal.
Ah.
All right, sure.
I'm going to curve 1-1 into 1-1 into 1-1 in this game. The ultimate curve.
Is that? I gotta say it quietly so he doesn't hear. Is that Cheeto?
Dun dun dun. No, it's Lucky Prospector into Temple Scribe into Temple Scribe.
Okay,
Hmm.
I sent out another challenge. There we go.
I think my opponent is going to play a card bigger than a 1-1, and I will lose the game on the spot. They played an Averax Familiar.
Are you freestyling? All right, who wants to hear Rex sing for the next 10 minutes?
Christ,
A cappella. All right, who wants to hear Rex sing for the next 20 minutes?
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do this.
Honestly, I don't think this is fair. I keep getting these like half-tuned ladder lists, and then people keep getting like 60 power excavator. You can't even play 60 power excavator.
That's
Do
true.
I want this? Yeah, I do. That's a good card. I'm ready. What? 2 cards? Not
At
fair.
the same turn. Watch out. Hulk just subscribed with a tier 1 sub. Thank you very much, Hulk.
Hey!
Nice. You don't need a
Welcome,
banner now.
Hulkbuster.
Today's a good day.
Wow, this is an awful decision that I have to make.
Is it?
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
pretty straightforward to me.
No, it's not.
You go
Because
top right, and then you concede.
Damn.
Okay, I've never used this. How does this work?
You got a torch.
Is it this one?
No, not a torch. What the? What? What is that?
It's
I've never even seen that card.
it's
Okay.
Island's Intervention. The
Oh!
powerful FTP moment sideboard against Valkyries.
Interesting.
Question mark.
I can't really math. What happens when I do this? Oh, okay.
It turns into a 4/4.
I like those numbers.
Those are rookie numbers. Pump those numbers up. Why is this playing this? I don't
So I can pump your glider.
I don't know. You gonna block?
Nope.
Doesn't block.
Nope, we're racing. Oops, I think I lost the race just now.
I didn't get any value out of those 2 triggers though.
Yeah.
Wait, what am I doing?
I don't know.
All right, you know what? It's fine. I thought you'd block for sure. I had a much better play in hand. I didn't do that play, but it's okay. You're gonna assume that
Get back.
What?
Step back. Take a step back, sir. Sir.
Wait. Why did you do that one?
Well, because you can just play. He's got haste, so I mean, the other guy has haste. I mean, well, I don't know what your hand is. Just show me why I should have done the other one. Okay. Ouch. Okay. That's a.
There's no way he blocks.
Yeah.
Damn it, he blocked. My one weakness.
Taunt is cheat.
Not clicking face is cheat. This one gains health when she blocks. Alright, that's just not fair.
Unfortunate. That guy looks difficult. I don't really need to read his text. Go. Yeah.
Spell is cheat. Viewers may be asking, is anything not cheat? No.
Wow. With these draws. Okay.
Only black every other turn for maximum confusion. Get in there.
I think you need to
What?
throw the prospector under the bus.
I think I'm gonna have to.
But he's been so lucky so far. Don't do it.
Never lucky. Dead.
Still get the scout.
All right. Ready?
Did you leave it on top? I didn't notice. Okay.
No, I put it on the bottom.
Did you? Really?
It was more power.
Oh.
More power to me.
Hey, I get to draw a card safely.
Yeah, you
I
do.
think. Yeah. I like drawing cards.
No, it's got ambush. You're in trouble now.
That
I'm
one.
playing right into Finest Hour.
Do I run Finest Hour?
Maybe? Are you sure
I don't think he runs standing finest hour, but he does run a standing hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, do run standing together.
But to be fair, a 2/4 killing a single 1/2 because of stand, not the most value play in the world, but
I kind of want to hold
he also
it.
didn't have the power to play stand together there.
Do I want to hold this? Yeah, I'm going to hold this.
Yeah, I probably have things.
Is there another power?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Spell is
Vanquish.
cheat.
Not fair.
Next he's gonna concede.
I'm gonna do this. Ooh, that was a pretty good card, I have to admit. And I'm gonna play it. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Has RNG's undefeated streak come to a screeching halt?
Uh-oh.
I did have a power on top. Okay, is this lethal? I am going to count. Stand back.
It's not.
It's
really not.
It is if you don't
Yeah.
block.
I think that's your thing, Miller. Not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, we'll do this.
Pile on.
I get to kill some things. I think I want to kill both of those things.
Don't kill the 1/2s.
Yeah.
The prowess gliders, no!
Wait a minute.
I want to let the other guy stick around.
Okay.
Well, that's
Thud rock.
annoying.
Big thud fodder. There's no way he has the third vanquish, right? There's no way.
I'm only running 3. That's unfortunate. Okay, now, which one to put it on? Wait, that is pretty obvious. I think.
Is it?
I think that was obvious.
Is it?
Maybe.
I don't want to do this.
Usually that's said right before you kill someone. I guess that's, how do you want to do this?
I know how I want to do this.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but sure. We'll block.
Okay.
We'll play it slow. Uh-oh.
Your unit's already attacked this turn, Miller.
I misclicked.
Alright, alright.
Okay.
Oh.
I get to draw a card, but ultimate transform a unit into... Okay. Alright. So... Yeah. Win game? Win game? No, don't torch. That would be just rude.
Sequencing?
No! Well, how could I sequence that better?
You could wait until after I torch.
Well, you didn't have to torch.
No, I was
True.
I was resenting lethal with 6.
Right, yeah. Like, I'm going to say that was fine. Obviously, it didn't work out, but it was
Did
fine.
not work out, but this is gonna be fine. Because I play Oath
The
Book.
chump blocking Birthflinger.
Jump blocking.
No!
My Yeti do not jump block.
What the fuck is that? That should not exist.
I mean,
The post-combat obelisk.
well, he
I drew it. I drew
drew
it.
it.
Off the
I
thing.
drew it.
Man, you're gonna die to obliterate here, and you're gonna be so sad.
Oh no.
This power in my hand is not an obliterate.
You can't point it at face. You know, if you had Stone Scar Excavator in play, then you could pitch it at his face. RNG's undefeated streak just come to a crushing halt. But we got Hulkbuster's blood money from it, so it's all good.
I can't beat. You don't have an out. There cannot be an out that you have that deals with this. Okay.
Bonk.
Okay.
All right. Down to the decider. Oh. All right. Are you challenging me?
Yeah, I will challenge you. I'm just updating the score.
I should check this list. Does this list does not play obliterate? All right.
I play 4 stand togethers. Okay.
Why doesn't this list play 4 obliterates? This list plays. Oh my god. All right. You ever feel like you're being used as a guinea pig for someone else's ladder deck to see how it works in best of 3 play?
I thought that was the point.
Welcome to those of you from Sir Rhino's stream. Who showed up a little while ago. All 4 of you.
Serrano
Oh,
stream?
it was an auto host.
Oh, okay.
I remember Rhino being more popular back in the day.
Now, the fatty host would be Pojo stopping his stream like 2 hours early.
Yeah.
And then we stop like 5 minutes later.
That sounds like us.
Yep.
Yep. But for value, right? The value concession.
The classic get hosted by LSV for 1,000 people as you're doing your outro spiel, and then you have to play another hour of Eternal.
Did that happen to somebody?
Unlucky. That happened to us.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah, that happened to us.
Yep.
We were happy to get it
Also-
though.
It's happened to a handful of times. It happened to Pojo once. It happened to Kepper once. Although I think the one from Kepper was actually a Gabby host, but it was still like a 500-person host.
You know who blocks? Not me.
Me neither.
Draw your last pathetic card, Miller.
I don't need to block. I just vanquish.
What? Alright, there ought to be a
Removal
law.
is cheat. Interacting with your opponent is cheating.
My opponent had cards!
True men just play cards, a space, and never block.
I like the games where you have a gentleman's agreement to just do nothing for 5 turns. That's my favy.
No rush 15?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody?
Let's see.
You were supposed to respond with, my subs deck has no pathetic cards.
Why? Really? Because the sub decks I get have a lot of pathetic cards.
Well.
Honestly, I think this is better than best of 3. I think we should just cancel all the analysis and just play subdecks all night.
I'm fine.
That's really what people want to see. I know. I've watched Sir Rhino stream before.
Oh!
That's all people show up for. Man, I am just fur flinging tonight.
Wow.
He's done it. He's figured out how to sequence
Oh
playing
my
cards.
God. Miller, I'm so proud of you.
Hey, I held the power back.
You
I
grow
went
up so fast.
I went too far by holding that back, but whatever. All right, that's it. Go.
You should ace base.
Overmaster has apparently been pointed to an even spicier deck, which is unstable form Puck Rock or Puck.
How much
Pock?
for?
Yeah, the 3 cost
yeah,
1/5 that gives you a snowball. We've discovered its true purpose in life. Get turned into a random card.
A random 3-drop.
Well,
Pock rock. Yeah, anybody from the 90s remember Pop Rocks? Well, they turned into a 1/5 Reckless with Bond. Wait a minute. Venom Spine on turn 3?
probably via unstable form. You bond out the 3 cost or the Puck.
What?
Oh god, I just played into Stand Together.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Oh no!
Get stood on. Get Goomba stomped.
You know what's the other funny part? Island's intervention can actually counter Stand Together.
Yes, it can.
Really?
This did not work out well. Yeah.
Negate.
Countered
Negate a
the
3-cost spell?
An exactly 3-cost spell.
That is so bad of a card. Okay. I still can't. You know, it's messed up is I still can't attack.
Oh, Hulk with the Giga Drill Breaker in chat. There you go.
I may have been in error.
Mistakes may have been made.
Mistakes. There's no such thing as a mistake. It's just an opportunity to
Oh,
concede.
okay, Wump is pretty good here though.
Yeah, Womp is really good here.
Ooh, and you can scout. What a value play.
No, that card's going on the bottom. That card's for wimps. Attacking. Chump attacking into a 5/5 doesn't seem great. So as long as he can't remove Wump, we're gonna win the game. There's no way he can remove Wump, right?
No.
Does this deck actually run ways to deal with Wump? I don't think so.
All right.
It may have 0 ways to deal with Wump in the entire deck.
It's got
Outside of
Oathbook.
creature combat.
I do have a
Yeah.
book.
No, Valkyrie Enforcer, of course, but there's only 3 of them and he's already played 1. Well,
Man, it must be lucky to have good cards in your deck instead of Island's Intervention. If only there was some way to prevent that Stand Together going off. Maybe a counter spell? Alright, it's fine.
yeah, I caught Enforcer.
Ah.
But the fact that I was staring at one. I was thinking of Combre or
No.
Combre
Why?
Marshall.
Do I
Why?
just get in there?
How many cards have you drawn? What the?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
Alright.
The
Go
stun,
forth, my Yetis.
stun Valkyrie Enforcer.
No flinger of fur.
I think you have to do some blocks here, Miller.
Yeah.
That's my expert analysis.
Okay.
Should he block himself dead again? That was popular.
It's possible that happens. Let's see. I mean, there. That'd be there. Okay, I'm
I
taking.
don't think I like these blocks, but okay.
Wait a second. I'm taking 3. I'm taking 8.
Excuse me, Judge. I'd like to report my my opponent for being coached.
I'm sorry. I'm like, wait. I can take as much time as I want because this is a friend game. All right, hang on a second. I was like rushing through.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Well, you told me that.
Chalice Don's game.
Judge, I'd like to report my opponent for slow play.
You guys. Let's see. Yeah, I definitely want to do that.
I'd like to report chat for also coaching Miller.
I'm not reading it.
No one advised me on my line of play. I misplayed with that Islands Intervention all on my own. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you did.
I like how I realized it just in time for it to be cast.
Yep. We need like the Gmail feature where you can undo an email like within 30 seconds. We just need to do that for
All right,
cards.
whatever. I'm
Where's
done.
the undo button in real life? What's this thing being blocked by?
It's like kitchen table magic where you're just like, wait, can I take you back to these?
Yeah,
And then
it
try
is.
to do that at like the Pro Tour.
Oh.
And they're like, no.
Wait, you can't take things back at the Pro Tour level?
I think competitive REL specifically doesn't allow for that one.
Yeah,
That
no
seems
takes.
suspect to me.
No takes.
I want to reread these rule sets. What about concessions at the Pro Tour level?
Those are allowed. Oh.
Uh-oh.
All right, what do I want to do? Is that even good?
Attack with Wump. That's what you should do.
Is this the old wump of chump blocking? You don't swing with it though?
The wump block, one might say.
Yeah, there is some crackback going on here from Miller.
I know. I'm not gonna do the math, and I'm gonna assume that I have crackback win.
There's no way.
No way.
No way.
None ways.
You would need to
Put that back in your head.
have some interaction.
I shouldn't have. Wait. Did I not? I didn't math it. So let's see what happens. You wait. I don't. I don't lose here.
It is lethal.
Okay.
It's
No, it's lethal.
It's got to be.
With the displacer, it's lethal.
Yeah.
Without the displacer, it is not.
RNG has lost a match.
Oh no!
GG.
All right, this new feature has been officially canceled by RNG.
I'd like to ban whoever gave me that deck. I'd like to send I actually already sent a bug report about that obliterate bug earlier.
About it not being in the deck.
Yeah. It was a mistake. All right, so that feature seems to be a hit. So we're gonna keep doing some sub deck best of threes after the regular best of threes in future weeks. But for all of you that are here now, I'd like to plug one more time our player draft feature. Be sure to come out on Friday night. I don't know what time yet, but we will know. There will be suits, there will be chalkboards, there will be yelling. It will be amazing. Or we'll have time for none of that, and we will have none of those things, but it will seem amazing. 50-50.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much for coming out. We hope you all had a good time. This has been best of three with two plus Miller for the third. So thank you guys all for coming out. Have a great evening.